Good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I'm Ron Brown. This is Tech for Senior. I'll be your host today. This is episode 142. It is December the 19th, 2022. And again, we want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We'll be with you today for about an hour. If you're watching this today, thank you for coming. We do appreciate you. If you're watching this as a YouTube live event, then welcome as well. If you're watching this as a YouTube short, just click the link and it'll take you right to the show. Today we have a big show for you. We're going to do security news with Bob. Then Bob's going to tell you about a new search, I guess, sort of engine called Swurl. Bill is going to talk about Windows tips. I'm going to talk about Kardia Mobile and a smartwatch. Which one is better? Bob's going to talk about holiday scams and how to keep your money if you're doing some online shopping. Ray, of course, has his music outro. And we will then go into our question and answer. So we have a big show for you today. As part of our premiere service, which will be starting at 1/2 this is our premiere video. For those of you who subscribe to our Saturday newsletter, of course, you know the link already, but I'll put the link in the chat. I'm going to talk on live transcription in Zoom. This was the feature that came out about a year ago. I know many of you are using it, but you just might want to be aware of that again. Huey's going to talk about Radio Garden. This was, you remember that, Huey? You did that about a year ago, and that was a great talk, and we will certainly talk about that. And this, of course, and Bob is going to talk about Google Drive. Are things really private? What about your privacy? So you might want to listen to that. So it's a great video for you today, and we will have that for you at 1/2. Before I introduce everybody, speaking of radio, I had a very sad event on Sunday. For those of you who have listened to Leo Laporte for many, many years, I've probably listened to him over 15 years on radio. This Sunday was his last broadcast. He is leaving radio. Now he will be doing podcasting, and he will have his Sunday show on. It'll be called something different, but it will be starting on January the 8th, but it will only be out as a podcast as he leaves radio. And I guess the question really is, what is the future of AM radio? And we talked a little bit about that on our Thursday show. So it's interesting the changes that are occurring. But anyway, he will be continuing on with his podcast. Now, many of you are wondering, I think Bill James asked earlier today, he says, what's this thing behind you? You don't have your usual Tech for Senior screen up. And of course, this was Project Atticus. Project Atticus was one of the featured channels that we do on our Saturday newsletter. As part of our Saturday newsletter, we each week I put in my favorite channel, and this channel, of course, is about Jordan and Desiree as they travel around in their sailboat. They've traveled across the Atlantic and are now in the Mediterranean and are visiting Malta, where they will be there for the next 6 months. And Desiree was pregnant, so she's going to be, she actually delivered on Saturday, and they have a new baby. And this baby will be going with them, traveling in around the Mediterranean as they travel around the world in their boat. They film this and they put it up onto their YouTube channel. They're very good videographers and storytellers. And if you want to learn about Malta, the link also in that on the Saturday newsletter takes you right to one of their recent videos on what is Malta, where is Malta, and so on and so forth. So very, very interesting. Also, if you noticed on our Saturday newsletter, Mike Ungerman has a regular feature now on EV cars and or vehicles. And this will be a playlist that he has, and you can just click the playlist. Now, it might always look like it's the same thing in the video in the newsletter, but he continually adds videos about EV cars and purchasing cars and so on and so forth to the playlist there. So if you are interested in EV cars or cars, just click that and you'll find lots of information. And that is a new feature in our Saturday newsletter. And then, of course, we have our Thursday show, which this week we will be talking about on our Thursday show, going over the news of the week. And after that, Huey, we have Learning Chromebooks, right?
Yes,
we have Learning Chrome. We missed it last month, but with this month we have Learning Chromebooks. So if you have a Chromebook, you want to find more about it, we should just click the link. It's on techforsenior.com, and just go there and you can click the link and you can register. If you are registered, I guess, Huey, you're going to send out notifications today and Thursday, right?
yes.
So if you are registered, you don't have to do anything. You'll get an email today just confirming that we'll be there on Thursday. So we'll have a show for you on Thursday right after our Tech for Senior Live, right?
Yes, and it will have a link with your unique password and log on.
Perfect. Okay, so that's so we have a busy week this week before Christmas. Let's just go over everyone quickly and talk to Huey. You're doing okay? Everything's going fine with you?
Yeah, in fact, last week we had our first physical, not Zoom, get together for the Sarasota Technology User Group. We had over 70 people sign up for it, but we had a tremendous rainstorm, and so several people just didn't show up. But we had over 50 people there, and that was the first gathering we've had. We've tried a couple of Zoom meetings where we had people live and online, and we just didn't get enough people in the live audience to make it worthwhile setting it all up and doing it. So we've gone back to straight Zoom. So this was our first get together in about almost 3 years. And we had a good crowd. We had a lot of fun. We were there for about 2.5 hours, and I got to meet in person ℎ𝕠𝕟, we've known each other online but never had met, and several other even officers of the organization I met for the first time. So it was a lot of fun.
I bet people maybe don't understand, but we've never met.
Yeah, you and I haven't.
We never met.
Yeah, the rest of us on the show have all met each other.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But you and I have never met.
Never met.
We're about 2,700 miles apart. So
it is, yeah. Bob, your voice is getting better.
Hallelujah. It's nice to have it coming back.
Yeah,
some people might not think that, but yes, it is coming back.
Little by little. Yeah,
it's
and
certainly taken a long time.
You've had some great videos out this week too. We'll talk. Some of those are going to be played today. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And Ray, I thought you'd be out shoveling snow.
No, we got it about 4 inches. Typically, I wait 2 days and it's gone because daytime temperatures here are in the 40s and 50s through most of the winter. But this past week, that's been hovering at about 32 in the daytime and down into the low 20s at night. So we have a little bit of ice, but it's almost gone.
There you go. So what's happening in Oklahoma, Bill? Have you got snow there? What's going on?
Oh, it's a nice day today. It's 49 degrees, almost 50.
Oh, really?
So,
really?
I don't think we have any snow in the forecast for the next couple weeks.
Right.
So it's going to be nice.
Oh, good. Good. Are you ready for Christmas?
Just about. I think I've got all my shopping done.
I can hardly wait till after Christmas to find out what you got for Christmas.
I think I've got all my Christmas things early this year. I bought a new printer and a new TV. So
yeah,
that's my Christmas.
There you go. Well, anyway, so listen, Merry Christmas to all our staff and everyone and all the audience today as well. Thank you and we really do appreciate, thank you for coming. And we really appreciate people who donate. Irving Gersovich, I want to thank you so much for your donation to our coffee fund. That was a very generous donation, and it certainly helps us pay the bills. So thanks so much, Irving. Good one. All right, Bob, are you ready to go?
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending December 16th, 2022. Microsoft signed malicious Windows drivers used in ransomware attacks. Microsoft has revoked several Microsoft hardware developer accounts after drivers signed through their profiles were used in cyber attacks, including ransomware incidents. The news comes in a coordinated disclosure between Microsoft, Mandiant, Sophos, and SentinelOne. The researchers explain that threat actors are utilizing malicious kernel mode hardware drivers whose trust was verified with authentic code signatures from Microsoft's Windows Hardware Developer Program. Read more at Bleeping Computer. Don't fall for these common holiday scams. The holiday season is here, whether you're happy about it or are a Grinch. It's a time to shop, enjoy the festivities, and spend time with family. But make sure you avoid all the holiday fraud. Unfortunately, every year, thousands of people fall victim to scams. This time of year is the worst regarding online, mail, and text scams. And when you're busy buying gifts and traveling, the last thing you want to deal with is a spammer, fraud, or someone trying to steal your hard-earned money, identity, or account info. Read more at Review Geek or watch my article on this topic by following the YouTube link listed. It's that time, December 2022 Patch Tuesday. Get latest security updates from Microsoft and more. Tech giant Microsoft released its last set of monthly security updates for 2022 with fixes for 49 vulnerabilities across its software products. Of the 49 bugs, 6 are rated critical, 40 are rated important, and 3 are rated moderate in severity. The updates are in addition to 24 vulnerabilities that have been addressed in the Chromium-based Edge browser since the start of the month. December's Patch Tuesday plugs 2 zero-day vulnerabilities, one that's actively exploited, and other issues that's listed as publicly disclosed at the time of release. Make sure you update as soon as possible if you're running a Windows system. Read more at the Hacker News. There's a new actively exploited zero-day vulnerability discovered in Apple products. Apple on Tuesday rolled out security updates to iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS, TV OS, and Safari web browser to address a new zero-day vulnerability that could result in the execution of malicious code. Tracked as CVE 2022-42856, the issue has been described by the tech giant as a type confusion issue in the WebKit browser engine that could be triggered when processing specially crafted content, leading to arbitrary code execution. The company said it's aware of a report that this issue may have been actively exploited against versions of iOS released before iOS 15.1. If you haven't updated, do it now. See the Hacker News for more. 3.5 million IP cameras exposed, and the US is in the lead. The number of internet-facing cameras in the world is growing exponentially. Some of the most popular brands don't enforce a strong password policy, meaning anyone can peer into their owners' lives. When you spy on your neighborhood or your cafe customers, do you wonder if someone is watching Big Brother? You, in this case. Businesses and homeowners increasingly rely on internet-protected IP cameras for surveillance. All too often, this gives them a false sense of security when in fact threat actors can not only access and watch your camera feed, but exploit the unsecured device to hack into your network. For more details, see Cyber News. Surprise, surprise! Security researchers discovered 22 issues in Google One VPN. After conducting a security assessment of the Google One VPN service, NCC Group listed 22 issues, with the majority of them present on Windows and iOS applications. VPN by Google One is currently available to Google One members on premium plans 2 terabyte and higher in more than 20 countries. An information assurance firm, NCC Group, conducted a security assessment of Google One Virtual Private Network during the summer. In a 52-page report, it said it had made 22 initial discoveries. 3 were medium severity findings, 10 were rated as low severity, and 9 described as informational observations. See Cyber News for more. The Senate passes legislation to ban TikTok from U.S. government devices. The Senate passed legislation Wednesday evening to ban TikTok from U.S. government devices in a move designed to limit perceived information security risks stemming from the social media app. The vote, by unanimous consent, approved the No TikTok on Government Devices Act, a bill authored by Senator Josh Hawley. The move marks lawmakers' latest step against the short-form video app that has become popular with over 1 billion users worldwide. U.S. officials fear that TikTok users' data could end up in the hands of the Chinese government due to the country's influence over TikTok's parent, ByteDance. I've mentioned something about TikTok's insecurities and other concerns almost every week. To learn more, see CNN Business. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Find out all about Avast's 3 major cybersecurity predictions for 2023. You can read the article at the link listed or watch my video on this topic by following the YouTube link. Did you know that selfies now cause more deaths than shark attacks? It is estimated there are 28 selfie-related deaths per year, with the leading cause being heights. The most expensive domain name ever sold was Cars.com for an astounding $872.3 million. In 1971, Computer Space was the first mass-produced coin-operated arcade video game. And during this week, a computer received the honors as 1982's greatest influence for good or evil. Just thought you might want to know. That wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Let's move on to the next item. SWURL, a different way to search and a different way to see your search results. SWURL isn't a search engine. SWURL is a search portal. You search SWURL via the internet by following the link listed. I first heard about this via one of the many newsletters I receive and thought it would be a great tool for all to try. I've also featured it in Tuesday's Tech for Seniors newsletter. To get to Tech for Seniors, just follow the link listed. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Once you open the website, you'll notice that the interface is very simple. Type in your search request, and you'll see your results. How the results are shared is where the difference between this search portal and other search results differ, as you'll soon see. The next slide will show you a few options that are available when making a search. search we'll be doing will be for Bob 3160. You'll notice it's entered in quotes to signify that I only want results for what's typed. Selecting the little down arrow on the extreme right of the search box brings up the options available, and normally this isn't selected unless you're interested in one of those options. Next, we'll go directly to the SWURL website so I can show you the results of that search for Bob 3160. So I've opened the web browser to the SWURL website, and I've done a search for Bob 3160. This is where the difference comes in. When you do the search in SWURL, you not only get the Google search results, but you also get Instagram, YouTube, and images associated with the search that was made. If I were using just the regular Google search, here are my results. And as you see, they're just the regular results. And if I go back to SWURL, these are all generated from Google search, which is the default search engine if you don't make any changes in this section here, where you can select, for instance, Bing as a default. Without making any changes in here, your search results, the main search, is Google. But you also get from Instagram, and you can go to any one of these pages that are on here. And as you can see, you can scroll each individual column. You're actually getting, depending on what services you use, a display of all the different services that come up when you do a search, displayed in one simple page, and you can access any one of these. That's the big difference. If you were using just the Google search, this is what you have. Yes, you can from here go to images, videos, shopping, maps, news, books, but they're all going to overwrite the original page. Whereas in SWURL, they're individual columns, and you can access any one of the columns. A great little tool to use if you do lots of searches and want access to many things all at the same time. Give it a try. Hopefully you'll like it as much as I did. One other thing I might point out in these settings, once you've used it for a while, if this is something you want to use on a regular basis, you can make this your default search. Set SWURL search as default. If you select that, then this becomes your default setting anytime you do a search. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. That's great. Just let everyone know, I use this all the time now. When Bob showed me this, I said, Bob, this is absolutely great. You've got to make a video about it. We've got to show everybody. Since I do a lot of work looking for news articles and topics that we need to show on the show, this is a game changer. It is really good. I would encourage you to give it a try. I'm using it all the time. Using it, Bob? Are you using it frequently?
Oh yeah, I use it.
Yeah.
That's why I made the video.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's really good. Okay. Where's Bill? Bill, are you? Oh, here you are. There you are, right there, right in front of me. Do you want to take it away?
So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk about 4 Windows tips this morning. Accessing your apps in the start menu in Windows 10. A little takeoff of what Bob's doing, change the default search engine in the address bar on Edge, and then add a home button in Edge, and then pin the Edge browser website to the taskbar. So these tips actually are more focused on Microsoft Edge and not some of the other search engines. So if you want to, if you're like me, some people, when you look at your start menu, you may have it rather compact like this. It just depends on how you set your defaults. But say, for instance, if you want to be able to access all apps within the start menu, you can change that. Currently, to get to all apps, you would go here and then click on this button, and then it would show you all the apps you have installed on your computer. But you can have that the all apps session as part of your start menu by going to settings, personalization, and then here click on start and just switch on show apps list and start menu. And that will then, when you click on your start menu, you now have all the apps showing as part of your start menu. It takes up more space. If you want to convert it differently and not have this showing at all, you can do the same thing by just turning it off. And then you're more view. So it's an option. So now if we want to change the default search engine, and I do a lot of searching in using my address bar a lot. I just from here. And right now it's this can be changed to be whatever default that you want. So what we will do here is just go to the three dots, or what they call the ellipse over here. And we then want to go down to settings. And then we want to go to privacy, search, and services. And then you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see address bar and search. So you can click here. And then as you can see that normally the default search engine for Edge is Bing, but you can change it to Yahoo, Google, or DuckDuckGo. Those are some of the choices. You pick the one that you want to use. I want to use Google. Then now, when I do a search in the in my search bar, it will be using the Google search engine. How many times do you would like to have a dedicated home button for a particular site that you like? In Edge, you can change the default here, where you see the home button. And when you click on the home button, it takes you to a page. Like in this case, it's MSN. But say, for instance, if I have a particular site that I want to always have as my home page, I can change that. So to do that, I want to then go down to settings here. I want to go to appearance. And then you'd be amazed the number of settings that are under appearance that we probably never realized that was here. But there's a button here that says home button. And right now I can change that by changing the set button URL. And here I'm going to now click where I'm able to change the URL. And let's just say I like to have my home button to be NASCAR. So I'm just going to type in HTTP NASCAR.com. And then I'm going to click on save. So now, when I open up my browser, it's always going to come up to whatever you last had up. Like it always starts in a new tab. But if I hit my home button now, I should come up with the NASCAR site. So I can add another. I can do bring up some other website if I want. And if I want, always go back to my home button. I can just press home, and I'll always have NASCAR website on page. And lastly, if you are one that wants to have a website pinned to your taskbar that you use frequently, you can do that as well. So what we'll do here again is go to our ellipses. Then we'll want to go to apps. And then we want to go down to more tools. And here you can see where you can pin. I can pin my NASCAR website to my taskbar just by here. And now, as you can see, when I bring up my taskbar, I have the NASCAR website here as well. You can use this for your bank or any website that you use frequently. So that's things that you can do with Microsoft Edge. And I hope that you can, I hope these were helpful to you. So with that, I will give the mic back to Ron.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you very much. Kardia mobile device or your smartwatch? Do they do the same thing? Which one would I recommend? It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This week a viewer asked me which one I would recommend for her father. She asked me if they did the same things, and I had to say, well, sort of. Let me explain my response. So first of all, let me explain what this Kardia mobile device is. Many of you are wondering what I'm talking about. Now we all know what a smartwatch is. This, of course, is my Fitbit Sense. So Kardia Mobile is a little device that I'm showing you here, and you put your 2 fingers on the right side, 2 fingers on the left side, and this actually does an ECG. Now it does it through an app on your phone. So yes, you do need a smartphone. Yes, you do need to download the app, and the two are connected by Bluetooth. It's available for iOS and Android. And this little device is fairly tiny, and this is a holder for it. And I even have it so you can put it on a key ring. You'll see it sort of in the palm of my hands. It's very tiny. This device was cleared in 2012 by the FDA for doing an ECG and interpreting it as to whether or not you have atrial fibrillation or not. As a physician, I spent most of my life helping folks like you. Now I've retired. I spend most of my time making health-related videos about smartwatches, and I've made more than 22 videos about smartwatches and your health. In this video, to keep it short, I'm going to constantly refer to some of the other videos and put the links in the description for you. So if you don't understand something, the link will be down in the description and you can play that video. So let's get on with it. Oh, don't forget the like and subscribe, please. So the first thing we have to do is talk about two common medical conditions you'll be faced with that go up exponentially after the age of 60. The first one we're going to talk about is atrial fibrillation. And in this diagram, you'll see that when we turn 60, that you'll find that the incidence of atrial fibrillation goes up exponentially with age. So what does all that mean? Well, you don't have to know anything about atrial fibrillation except the four things I'm going to tell you about now. And the first thing you have to know is that after you saw that graph, you'll understand that it's common. It is very, very common, and it goes up exponentially as you get older. The second thing is that you need to know that atrial fibrillation is often associated with a fast heart rate. So you can sometimes pick it up by measuring your pulse. The third thing you need to know is that it's often asymptomatic. In other words, people don't know they have it. And it's estimated about 30% of people with atrial fibrillation don't know they have it. And that's an important point we'll come back to. And the fourth one's the biggie. This is the biggie. It's the third cause of stroke. And this is preventable. So if we can find folks that have atrial fibrillation that don't know they have it and get them treatment, we can prevent a lot of strokes. And heck, who wants a stroke? The second medical problem that you may encounter is exactly the opposite. Instead of your heart going too fast, it's going to go too slow. In other words, it just wears out. You know, I mean, our knees wear out and we get new knees, our hips wear out, we get new hips. Cataracts get replaced. Well, your heart just wears out and it starts to slow down. And you might require a pacemaker. And as you can see in this study from New Zealand, the incidence of pacemaker insertion goes up, guess what? Exponentially as you get older. So the older you get, the more likely it's going to be that you're going to require a pacemaker. So what are the symptoms? Well, bad news. You know, those are the older people that are driving down the highway and they just lose consciousness and have some very bad results. Or those are people that are home and get dizzy, fall and break their hip. So this is a bad thing that can happen. And so this is something that can be picked up by a slow pulse. This is basically what happens is your pulse gets slower and slower and slower until there's not enough oxygen going up to the brain because the flow is so low. Again, this is quite easy to pick up because it's related to your heart rate. So obviously we want to measure your heart rate. Yes, Kardia Mobile will do that. Yes, my smartwatch will do that. But any watch over $10 will easily measure your heart rate. All watches do that, and they usually will tell you if you're going too fast or too slow. So what I simply recommend is that maybe you set the top number to about 130. If it goes over 130, maybe see your doctor, have it analyzed, because maybe that's atrial fibrillation. And I would set the low at 60. And if it goes, your heart rate goes below 60, then you might want to see your doctor and find out, hey, is everything okay here? And that can be done with just a $10 device. Put it on your wrist and just measure your heart rate. And remember, too fast, it might be atrial fibrillation. Too slow, you might need a pacemaker. Simple, $10 investment. All right, let's say your heart starts to flutter. Your $10 watch tells you your heart is going over 130. And after watching this video, you wonder, do you have atrial fibrillation? Wouldn't it be interesting if you could do some sort of test that would tell you if you do or do not have atrial fibrillation without having to go to the doctor? Well, in fact, that's what we call an ECG. And the first device to be able to do that, of course, was this little device here, Kardia Mobile. Yes, in 2011, this was the first device that came out that actually did an ECG and would interpret it as to whether or not you had atrial fibrillation. They then taught Apple how to do it, and the Apple Watch was the first watch to be able to do ECG. Following this, of course, the Fitbit Sense, the Samsung watches 3, 4, and 5 did that, and of course, we now have the Pixel Watch does it as well. So we're now able to, all these devices can do FDA approved, because these are actually medical devices, FDA cleared ECGs, but the only thing they do is they tell you if you do or do not have atrial fibrillation. These don't do the same type of ECGs we do in the emergency department in the hospital. So that's important for you to know. All right, so far these two look pretty similar, right? Kardia Mobile versus your smartwatch. Well, this past year there was a big game changer. Let's look back at this. Both those devices, you have to have symptoms, then you actually do a manual ECG. You activate it on your watch, which means you have to sort of push the bezel, or you have to do, everyone's a little bit different, but it's a manual process that you have to activate. The same thing on Kardia Mobile. You have to get your device out, put your fingers on it, and activate it. But remember what I told you earlier. I told you that 30% of people with atrial fibrillation have no symptoms. So how's that going to work? Wouldn't it be interesting if these devices that were on your wrist would just simply continuously monitor your heart rate and tell you if you have atrial fibrillation? That'd be a game changer, right? And that happened this year, folks. This was so important. It didn't really get the press I think it deserved. It was called irregular heart rate notification. And this is a feature that is on the Apple Watch, and it goes back to a whole bunch of earlier Apple Watches as well. The same thing happened with Fitbit. The Fitbit line not only was the Sense, which does the ECG, but the irregular heart rate notification went to a wide variety of models of the Fitbit line. And the same thing with the Galaxy Watch as well, does the irregular heart rate notification. This is incredible because what it does is it monitors your heart rate without you actually having to activate an ECG. It looks for atrial fibrillation. Now, this doesn't continuously do this on a 24/7 period. What it does is it selects certain times of the day and does random sampling to see if you have atrial fibrillation. It mostly does this at night. And that's another clue I'm going to give you. If you do have any of these smart devices and you're concerned about monitoring your heart rate, you always want to wear that watch to bed with you at night. I know if you have always taken your watch off at bedtime, you just have to get used to wearing your watch at night because that's when a lot of this monitoring occurs. Yes, it monitors it and it will send you a notification if you have atrial fibrillation. This is huge because now we can monitor ourselves and find out if we are going into atrial fibrillation when we don't even know it and get treatment for that and prevent a stroke. That's why I wear my Fitbit Sense. I don't want to have a stroke. Now, I've produced a video, how to prevent a stroke with a smartwatch, which explains all this, how to install it, how the app works, everything you need to know about this feature. I'll put the link down below and you can just click that and watch that video. All right, because of the irregular heart rate notification, my vote is going to go towards the devices you wear on your wrist because you can get continuous monitoring. Of course, you can't get continuous monitoring with this device because you have to pull it out and do a manual ECG. So what are my final thoughts about this device? Well, it's interesting because this device actually comes in two different models. There is a model that's more expensive and it's called the 6L Kardia Mobile device. This device gives a 6-lead ECG. Now, you don't need to know what a 6-lead ECG means, but it's almost as good as a hospital ECG. It provides an incredible amount of information about your heart, something the other devices just don't do. The problem is the type of information it's going to give you really needs to be interpreted by a healthcare provider, most likely a cardiologist. So in certain situations, this could be beneficial, but you'd have to talk to your healthcare provider because they would play a key role in getting that information, interpreting it, and giving you advice back. So it's something that you really need to talk to your healthcare provider before spending your money on the 6L version of the Kardia Mobile device. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. If you enjoyed the video, please
Don't fall for these common holiday scams. The holiday season is here. Whether you're happy about it or are a Grinch, it's a time to shop, enjoy the festivities, and spend time with family. But make sure you avoid all the holiday fraud. Unfortunately, every year, thousands of people fall victim to scams. My thanks to Corey Gunther for his excellent article on this topic. Please read his article at the link listed. Delivery confirmation text scams. Everyone shops online these days, and all those orders shipped to your house are a big target for theft. We already have to deal with porch pirates trying to steal packages from the front door. However, the biggest threat is all those fraudulent text messages and spam about delivery attempts. Confirm for delivery or shipment delayed. While this isn't new, it's a growing problem that reemerges every holiday season. Scammers send fake text messages claiming that a package is delayed or that you need to confirm the delivery. These messages almost always have a link for you to click, but don't click on the link. Just don't do it. Let it sink in. That call from Amazon, Apple, or Walmart is fake. A similar yet different spam approach is that dreaded phone call. And no, Amazon, Apple, Walmart, Best Buy, or other sites will likely never call you. You will never get a phone call from Amazon about fraud on your account, an Apple employee saying your iCloud was hacked, or anything of that nature. This scam is similar to those old Microsoft fraudulent phone calls. This type of scam often uses the tactic of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Sum them up as FUD. The caller will claim your account got hacked. Someone bought an iPhone using your account, or your Amazon profile could get deleted. They'll help you fix the problem immediately. Just don't fall for it. Avoid Secret Sister and Secret Santa gift exchanges. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a fun Secret Santa gift exchange with friends, family, or co-workers around the office. But that's where this trend should stop. You'll want to absolutely avoid any Secret Sister trends online. Avoid gift exchanges or anything similar that doesn't involve being in person for the trade. Next, we'll cover a few other scams. Unfortunately, the season of giving doesn't stop bad actors. Just like us, it's their busiest time of the year. I've highlighted a few popular scams in preceding slides, but those aren't the only ones. According to the FBI, in 2021's crime report, consumers lost hundreds of millions of dollars during holiday scams. Google blocks over 15 million scam emails daily this time of year, which is mind-boggling, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So here are a few other scams you want to be mindful of and avoid. Giveaways. Many brands do giveaways during the holiday, but avoid giveaways from unknown sources, or if it asks you to enter your credit card info. Fake charities. Phone calls, texts, and even letters in the mail from organizations with familiar but fake names will ask for charitable donations. Don't do it. Public Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi at Starbucks or a hotel can be a lifesaver while traveling, but be careful. Hackers target public Wi-Fi with dangerous pop-ups. Free Wi-Fi isn't always secure, so don't access your bank account or log into sensitive sites on public Wi-Fi. That's where a VPN would come in very handy. Targeted emails. Watch out for emails that include specific or targeted information about you or your demographic, whether that's a fake email from a previous job, a recent vacation you posted on social media, or phony bank notices. Fake stores on social media. Fraudsters will go as far as creating a fake website and use ads on social media displaying huge discounts to trick consumers. Look for HTTPS in the URL. The S stands for secure. Better yet, only buy from sites you know and trust. Card skimming. Card skimming at ATM, gas stations, and payment terminals is still a big problem. Thieves install reading devices on top of existing devices to steal your credit card info. Use a credit card instead of a debit card for more protection. And don't save your credit card info on retail sites because digital skimming can happen too. Subscription renewals. Watch out for spoof emails from antivirus services, streaming platforms, and other suspicious subscription services. Scammers make these emails look real, so use caution. Crypto scams. Finally, we must mention cryptocurrency. Never share your wallet passphrase with anyone, and never ever send a stranger crypto. Even if you get a threatening email, a blackmail attempt, or promises of huge returns, avoid it all. Here are some tips to avoid holiday scams or fraud. Most importantly, use common sense. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And remember, nothing is ever totally free. You'll want to be hesitant about unknown or unwanted calls, texts, or emails. Don't share your personal or banking information with sites you don't know and trust. Research any retailers you don't know. Never click on random links, no matter where they come from. Be wary of anything that sounds suspicious and include a gift card. More importantly, use a credit card whenever possible for all the added protections. Stay safe, stay secure, and have a happy holiday season. Bye-bye.
Good advice, Bob. Thanks a lot. Keep safe. We want to keep everyone safe for sure. Ray, just before we get started, I just want to say goodbye to everybody over on our YouTube feed. Thank you for coming. Have a Merry Christmas. Don't forget our premiere service will be at 1/2 premiere video. So we will hopefully see you again. And don't forget next week about our Thursday show and learning Chromebooks.
Jackie Evancho, An Angel's Voice. Now, the first time I heard Jackie sing, I could not believe that such an adult voice could come from a 10-year-old. I thought this must be some sort of lip-syncing trick, but I was wrong. Now, Jackie was born in the year 2000 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and by the time she turned 8 years old, it was becoming obvious that her voice was very special for someone so young. She began taking singing lessons and entering local area and out-of-state competitions. When she was 9 years old, she started to get noticed thanks to video clips on YouTube. She even sang the Star-Spangled Banner at the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team 2010 home opener. Now, the big break came later that year when she was accepted as a contestant on the 5th season of NBC's America's Got Talent, and she finished in 2nd place. Although it should be noted that many commentators and viewers felt that Evancho should have won. Nevertheless, her AGT appearance led to a recording contract with Columbia Records, and her debut album, Oh Holy Night, released just before the 2010 Christmas season, entered the Billboard charts at number 2. Thus, Evancho became the top-selling debut artist in 2010 and the youngest solo artist ever to debut in the top 10. Now, by 2019, Evancho released 8 studio albums, all reaching number 1 on Billboard's classical albums charts. Since then, she has performed at concert appearances around the world. Now she's 22 years old, and her voice is consistent with her age. And she often performs more contemporary songs, such as one of my favorite Judy Collins songs, which was written and also performed by Joni Mitchell, song titled Both Sides Now. So I've included a YouTube link to this performance below as well. But today's Tech for Senior Christmas song is 10-year-old Jackie appearing on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno singing Oh Holy Night. Pretty spectacular, I think.
Amazing that a voice could come out of such a small girl, eh? Like so,
Yeah.
so young.
If there's such a thing as an angel's voice, that's it.
It is indeed. Ray, thank you again. You're another great selection. Don't forget, everyone, that we add all these to Ray's playlist. And we talked about, of course, Mike Ungerman's playlist on our Saturday newsletter. On Tuesday, you'll find, of course, Ray's playlist, and it has all the songs going back to when Ray first started. So I don't know how many hours and hours of music you can listen to, but there's a lot of music there anyway. Ray, thanks so much for what you do. It's top of the hour. Another week has gone by, another show. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. We're going to move into our question and answer period now. But before we do that, I just want to remind everyone that, of course, this Thursday, we will have our Tech for Senior Live, a very popular series. We'll have the usual gang talking about all the news of the week. And then following that, we have, of course, Learning Chromebooks. So you and I will be there with everyone that is registered, and we'll have a great hour doing Learning Chromebooks. Then, of course, we have Christmas, and we'll be back next Monday, the same time, same place. So let's open it up to questions. If you have any questions about any of the device, maybe you have a question about Kardia Mobile or any of the smartwatches, we're all ears. Just put up your hand. You can go down to reactions at the bottom there, click that, and we will we'll answer your questions. We do have our premiere service starting at hour. I'll put the link in again while we're doing our Q&A now, and you can certainly watch some very interesting topics at hour. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for that presentation on that EKG stuff. I've got to teach a class on the 29th. Can I use your presentation? Yeah,
it'll be up. This will be up probably midweek, maybe today or tomorrow. I'm not sure, but it'll be on our YouTube channel. And sure, absolutely.
Great.
That's what it's there for. It's there.
Great job. Thanks.
Thanks. Olive, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering about the low heart rate. If your heart rate is normally low anyway, does that get worse as you grow older, or what?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I said to set the lower rate at 60, obviously, if you have an inherently low heart rate, and your heart rate's always maybe around 50, 55, then for sure, just set it lower, right? If you know what your heart rate is always at. But I guess if your heart rate is always around 60, between 60 and 70, and all of a sudden it drops down to 50, then you have to be worried. So a lot of it depends what your inherent heart rate is. And also some medication that you take will slow your heart rate down. Some of the medications we use for high blood pressure, which is fairly common, of course, slows your heart rate down. So it may not indicate that you need a pacemaker, but it may be due to the medicine or an inherently slow heart rate that you have anyway, right? So you have to, but you can adjust that, just adjust the features there. But it's common, people get, you really need to watch your heart rate because as I said, the incidence of pacemaker insertion goes up exponentially with your age. So you don't want to fall or get dizzy or anything like that.
Yeah, I've always had a joke that one guy I worked with said that I have two speeds. If you don't like this one, you darn sure won't like the other one.
Exactly. And you can measure it. You know, you really don't need an expensive device. You can do it with a $10 watch, right? You just have to because these devices all sit on your wrist and they just measure your heart rate. It's real simple. Jim, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I bought one of those bone conduction Bluetooth headsets, and I'm running Windows 11. I'm having a terrible time getting it to pair. It says it's paired, but the volume still comes out through the laptop instead of through the conduction, bone conduction. Any idea what I'm doing wrong?
Yeah, you're not selecting that device as your default device.
You can see
in the
mine works
Windows.
fine.
Okay, wait a second.
And go to the Windows settings for your microphone for your speaker and select that device as the speaker.
I just lost everything again.
Well, Jim's looking for that. Do we have any other questions? Anybody want any comments or
Can you
anything
hear
like
me?
that? Yep,
Yep.
you can hear. Are you back?
Someone's at your door.
Okay, I gotta go. There's somebody at my front door.
All right,
I'll work on it.
we'll talk later. Kathleen, go ahead.
Yes, I didn't quite get your link for Kardia Mobile. I'm entering it in the search on my watch on my iPhone and nothing comes up. So what did I do wrong?
Are you looking for the video or are you looking for the website?
The website and how to install it.
Do you have the advice? Do you have the device?
No.
Okay. The Kardia Mobile is made by a company called AliveCore. I'll put those links in the video. And I think it's just AliveCore. Yeah, ALIVECOR. Just type that in the search and you'll find the site and it'll show you there's two models that they make. There's the 6L version, which is I would not recommend purchasing that because unless you talk it over with your physician and because there has to be a flow of information there. The lower model, it can be usually, I think they listed around $80, but just remember these devices have been around since 2011 and there's tons of them around. They're sold on Amazon, they're sold on eBay. There are I've seen them as low as $40 or $50, so they're readily available because they've been around a long time. Just watch for the sales. I know Best Buy had them on sale a couple of months ago, so those are the list prices that you'll find on AliveCore's website. I would recommend searching Amazon and eBay and looking at some other sites to purchase them because you'll find them a lot cheaper.
Is it Kardia Mobile? What am I searching for? What do I put in the search if I'm going on Amazon?
Kardia Mobile. Yeah, just type in
okay,
Kardia
fine.
Mobile and it'll bring them up. Yep, should
Oh,
bring
fine.
them up. Yep.
Sorry, I'm a bit confused here, but thank you.
Yeah,
for
just put a Kardia Mobile in there. Yeah, just
Okay.
remember there's two versions. Don't buy the 6L version unless you talk it over with your doctor and he says, hey, that's a good idea, because you really need to send the information to the doctor to have it interpreted, right?
Okay,
Kathleen,
thank you.
until you have the actual device, the app
Mhm.
isn't going to do you much good.
That's right. You have to have the app comes on your phone and you can get that at the Play Store or with the Apple Store and you can download it, but you need to pair it with the device.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Olive, go ahead.
Yeah, so the recording that it does, the doctor will actually use that then?
Yeah, it'll send the ECG to the physician and then he has to interpret it. When we're talking about, when you go into the hospital, and you go into the emergency department, you've got chest pain, we can tell with an ECG if you're having a heart attack, right? We can tell what the circulation of your heart is like. There's all sorts of things we can tell by doing an ECG, but those are not the ECGs that are done on smartwatches, at all. The only thing an ECG on a smartwatch does is tells you if you do or do not have atrial fibrillation. That's it. It doesn't give you any other information at all. So the ECGs we do in the hospital are a lot different. Well, the Kardia Mobile 6L, it does what we call a 6-lead. And the way it does that is, you know, the two fingers you put on the left, I showed you 2 fingers on the right. Well, you sit it on your knee. So your knee is the third access point to the ECG. So that's how we do a 12-lead. It's actually sitting on your knee when you're doing it. So the back of it is another contact point, and that sends that gives a lot more information on the info, and that creates this information. But what do you do with that? Like, you know, you need to be a cardiologist to look at that, to see it, right? Or you need a doctor. So you have to send that to your physician, and he looks at it, and your physician would say, or healthcare provider would say, ooh, this doesn't look very good. You know, did you have some chest pain when you did this ECG? And you'd say, yeah, I was out for a walk. I got this chest pain. I did this test, and that's what happened. Well, that's a bad thing. And so, you know, he'd say, come in and let's get you checked out. So that's the type of information flow that would happen with the 6L.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, this is for Kathleen. I bought mine through Best Buy, and I had a devil of a time trying to program it. They programmed it, charged me $45 for the programming. But I'm able to take my cell phone when I go into my doctor and I just play it for her. She looks at it and then she just says there's no problem and I'll see you later. But when Ron was saying, and I think that you might have missed it as I did, you have to program that thing. And so if you buy it from Amazon, you've got to go someplace to program it unless you're pretty darn smart about doing this.
No, Greg, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's so there's no programming. All you do is download the app on your phone. Your app will say, hey, where's your device? And you take your device and you turn it on and it'll connect. That's it. There's no probing and no programming involved. There might be a setting in there that says, where do you want to save your ECG? And you can pick a folder to save it in, but that's it. There's no to pay $45 to I'll do it for $45. I'll tell you how to do it on the phone. You know,
yeah, I was having problems with my iPhone, is why. And I'm still having problems. I'm getting rid of my iPhone and going to something else.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
You know, it was my phone.
Yeah. It's just a Bluetooth connection, like just connects by Bluetooth, like your headset would, or any device you use Bluetooth. It's simple. It's really simple. You don't need to pay anybody. Don't pay anybody. It's like, if you can pair anything with your phone, it's easy to pair that device. And they've been doing it for 2011. I mean, they've been doing it a long time, and there's millions of these devices out. A lot of cardiologists recommend them. I bet also, I don't know this for a fact, but I bet you a lot of your healthcare HMOs would pay for them as well. They're not a lot of money, but you know, you probably would benefit. You know, they probably pay for these devices being around, particularly the Kardia Mobile devices have been around prior to the Apple Watch doing ECGs. Remember, Kardia Mobile taught Apple how to do it. So they've been around a very, very long time. JJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I've had my Kardia Mobile for over a year. I've been typing in the chat box. But yeah, just make sure that when you use the devices, not near any electronic devices like your keyboard, because they'll tell you it won't work. Other than that, like Ron said, it's easy to set up, put the device or the app on your phone, and now they have the card out, and that's what you're going to see on the site now if you go directly to the site. But here again, put your 2 thumbs on the card, and it reads in about 30 seconds.
JJ, do you have the card?
Yeah, I have the card. It's right here in front of me. What I do with it?
Where?
I've got the device and the card in front of me. Okay.
But you know, JJ, yeah. You know, JJ, when I went, and I know about the card, but the reason I didn't put it in the video was because when I went to the site, and I was just there this week when I was doing the video, that's no longer on the Kardia Mobile site, on the AliveCar site. I wondered,
the device is not on the site, just the card's on the site. And they sent me the card for free when I signed up for the program.
Because I didn't see the card advertised on the AliveCar site anymore, and I wondered if they discontinued the card.
I just checked your site a few minutes ago, and the only thing they're showing is the 6L and the card. Oh, okay. All right. So there you go.
But it's a great, you had no trouble setting it up?
None whatsoever.
Right.
Like I said, just make sure you're not near, like, for example, if I put it on my desk next to the keyboard, it'll tell me move it away from electronics.
Right. Good. Okay. Great. They also have a system where with AliveCore, the people that make Kardia Mobile, is if you do an ECG, they have a feature where you can actually send that, you can email it as a PDF to a board certified cardiologist. They will interpret it and have it back to you within an hour. Now, I think they charge 20 or 25 bucks for that service, but it is available, and they have a whole package of different services that you can send the information off. So
That's $5 cheaper than the specialist.
well, exactly. So, although they're going to send it back in medical mumbo jumbo, so you'd have to send it to your doctor and say, hey, I just got this ECG report. What do you think I should do with it? And you need a little help with it. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's good. Here we go. Ahead.
Yeah, if you have a pacemaker, does it make a difference with that cardio?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have a pacemaker, then the pacemaker is set to keep your heart at a certain level, right? So it's not going to drop down. So there'd be no point in really looking for a lower level. I don't recommend people who have pacemakers even really, they don't even need the device, because inherent in the pacemaker, it's going to record and capture any atrial fibrillation you get into. There's a little chip in there, and it monitors, and it's constantly monitoring your heart. And a lot of these things are connected right to back to the cardiology center that put them in, and they're constantly monitoring you, looking for slower than normal and atrial fibrillation. So there's no point in really buying a device like that, because the pacemaker is doing all that for you.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
And if you have a pacemaker, the only thing it'll tell you is the pacemaker ain't working right.
Well, yeah, but it also measures, oftentimes when you go in to get your pacemaker checked, they may say, oh, you've had periods of atrial fibrillation. That's worrisome. And they send you over to get evaluated again, because it actually is monitoring, whether or not because it's the same problem. You either go too slow or too fast. If you look at, we didn't get into why this occurs, but it's basically the same problem. So that's why, but it's common. I tell everyone, I did this presentation, not this one, but one on this, to a group of about 200 people down in Arizona. And afterwards we had, I said, anyone want a free ECG? And I had my little Kardia Mobile device. And there was about 40 people in the show after the show that came up to have to have their ECG done. And I sat there and I picked up 3 atrial fibrillations that people didn't know they had atrial fibrillation. And one, he must have been 82, sort of stumbled up, and he looked pale as anything. And I did his pulse. His pulse was 42. And so I laid him on the floor, called 911, and he went to the hospital. And these are just people coming up after a presentation they did. And these are, that's the group of people you had. So this is really, really a common problem that you need to keep on top of. Greg?
That isn't the problem of this 82-year-old, thank God.
Yeah. Greg, go ahead.
So in one of those classes you gave right after, and I think it was the very first one, I was in the class, and you had me do that thing. And then the lady sitting next to me, you said, my gosh, you're having a stroke, and you took her to the hospital. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Right.
This is incredible.
Yeah, like, I do these presentations around Mason. I'd go, and then afterwards I'd say, let's sit down and do an ECG. And the stuff that you saw was really quite amazing. So it's really common. It's really, really, really common. That's the important thing that everyone needs to understand. Well, it's 20 minutes past the hour. I want to thank everyone for coming today. Don't forget learning Chromebooks on Thursday. Don't forget that. You'll have some information out. If you're registered, you'll be getting the email out to everybody. Then we'll have our Thursday show, which of course the usual gang will be there. Bill, I hope you're, Ray, I hope you're feeling better. we'll look forward to everyone getting together on Thursday. And please have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully you have a great time with your family, lots of turkey dinner, lots of family. Enjoy your time with everyone, and stay safe. And we'll be back next week, same time, same place.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Bye-bye now.
Christmas.
Bye-bye.